The barren moonscape of Xyloria stretched out like a desolate canvas, painted in shades of twilight gray and rusted copper. Jagged mountains loomed in the distance, their sharp outlines cutting into a sky that carried the silent scars of ancient battles. Amid this haunting tableau lay the valiant Dawn, a relic of Earth's turbulent past, half swallowed by the endless dust of forgotten time and whispered legends. Dr. Mara Ellison stepped off her transport shuttle, her boots echoing on the brittle surface. Each step stirred the silent ghosts of her past, a life marked by relentless conflict, duty, and memories of both valor and loss. The chill in the air carried a palpable weight of history, a constant reminder of the sacrifices made in the throes of warfare. Her gaze was drawn inexorably to the looming silhouette of the warship, its massive, rusted hull, once a symbol of formidable power and heroism, now stood silent and enigmatic beneath Xyloria's pale, indifferent light. Mara's eyes, reflecting determination intertwined with lingering sorrow, roamed over the ship's surface. Every crevice, every dent in the metal seemed to narrate its own tale, a story of triumph, despair, and legacy that refused to fade. As a renowned xenohistorian and relic curator, she had encountered many remnants of a bygone era, yet nothing had prepared her for the overwhelming aura of solemn grandeur exuded by the valiant Dawn. The exterior of the warship was an open diary of conflict. Faded insignias whispered of battles long past, and scars from ancient impacts told secrets of encounters with forces both known and mysterious. With each cautious step, Mara's heartbeat echoed the weight of her mission to unearth the truth hidden behind these silent, scarred walls. Her journey was as personal as it was academic, driven by the memories of her own days in combat and the indelible mark of history on her soul. A subtle, almost imperceptible glow emanated from within a fractured viewport, casting a shifting dance of light across the dust-laden corridors. It was as if the relic, though dormant, still clung to the vestiges of life and fierce determination. This delicate illumination promised that, even in silence, the warship might divulge secrets that spanned the cosmos, secrets that could reshape the understanding of a storied past. Standing at the threshold of the entrance, Mara felt a shiver course through her. It was not merely the cold bite of Xyloria's atmosphere, but the anticipation of revelations that could redefine the balance of power and the truths of old wars. The silent warship, an enduring sentinel of Earth's history, awaited her discovery. With a deep, steadying breath, Mara stepped into the darkness, resolved to confront the echoes of ancient conflict and to uncover the secrets hidden in the shadows. The first tentative steps beyond the warship's exterior plunged Mara into a world of silent mystery. Inside, the corridors of the valiant Dawn were shrouded in shadows, their secrets hidden beneath layers of dust and time. The air was cool and stale, carrying the faint echo of distant, unspoken voices, a chorus of history murmuring through abandoned halls. Every footstep on the creaking metal floor resonated with the weight of forgotten struggles. As Mara's flashlight beam swept across the vast, derelict expanse, intricate patterns of decay and resilience emerged. Panels once emblazoned with the proud insignia of Earth's might were now worn and fragmented, their faded glory juxtaposed against the ship's current desolation. Walls pockmarked by the passage of years bore silent testimony to battles fought with passion and precision, their scars etched deeply into the metal. At the heart of the warship, Mara discovered a sealed compartment nestled behind a collapsed bulkhead. The entrance was cleverly concealed, its rusted latch almost merging with the intricate engravings that adorned the surrounding surface. With careful, deliberate motions honed by years of experience, Mara pried open the compartment. Inside, she found an array of enigmatic artifacts, a cache of data crystals, delicate instruments of a forgotten era, and cryptic inscriptions that seemed to pulse with latent energy. Her fingers brushed lightly over the artifacts as she cataloged each piece in her mind. Every item was a puzzle piece, a silent messenger from a time when the ship was a living testament to valor and innovation. One particular artifact, a small, intricately carved device, captivated her attention. It glowed faintly, its inner workings a mystery waiting to be deciphered. The artifact beckoned Mara deeper into the relic's storied past, promising revelations that might unearth long-buried truths about Earth's ancient conflicts. While the relic's physical decay was evident, hints of a hidden vitality lingered in the flicker of dim, residual lights and the faint hum of long-dormant machinery. The subtle interplay of shadow and luminescence created a surreal atmosphere, as if the valiant Dawn itself was slowly awakening to recount its saga. Mara's scientific curiosity warred with a profound sense of awe. She was not merely exploring an abandoned warship but stepping into a living chronicle of history. As she carefully documented her findings, Mara could almost feel the presence of those who had once fought aboard the vessel. Their memories seemed to whisper in the silence, a mix of pride and sorrow woven into the very fabric of the metal around her. Each inscription, every shard of technology, spoke of a time when sacrifice and honor were the currency of survival. In that moment, amidst the relic's solemn grandeur, Mara realized that the Valiant Dawn was far more than a decaying artifact. It was a storied archive, a custodian of secrets that held the power to illuminate the past and, perhaps, to reshape the future. With a determined spark in her eyes, she resolved to delve deeper into its mysteries, prepared to confront the enigmas that lay hidden in the dark corridors of history. Within the labyrinthine corridors of the Valiant Dawn, the silence began to murmur with the echoes of bygone days. As Mara ventured deeper into the ship's heart, each step unveiled secrets that had long been buried beneath layers of rust and memory. In a secluded chamber lit only by the soft glow of residual emergency lights, Mara uncovered a small, weathered archive room. Dust-laden files and fragmented holographic records were strewn across a shattered console, as if time itself had attempted to preserve a moment of desperate clarity. Carefully, she activated one of the dormant terminals, its screen flickering to life with cryptic logs and distorted images, a silent testament to the ship's storied past. As the data played out before her, Mara found herself transported to another time, a vivid flashback to the heat and chaos of battle. In that memory, she was a younger officer, her heart pounding with both terror and determination. The scene unfolded in a haze of blinding energy and cacophonous alarms, comrades fighting valiantly, orders shouted over the roar of plasma blasts, and a palpable sense of urgency that defined every heartbeat. The juxtaposition of her past valor and the quiet desolation of the present stirred a torrent of emotions, blurring the lines between who she had been and who she had become. The holographic logs continued to unveil snippets of conversation from the past. Overlapping voices recounted moments of both camaraderie and conflict. One voice, rich with the gravitas of command, declared, "We must hold the line, for every life here is a beacon for the future." Another, softer yet resolute, replied, "In the silence of our defeat, remember that hope is never truly lost." These disjointed fragments of dialogue resonated deeply within Mara, each word an invocation of courage and sacrifice, a reminder of the relentless spirit that once defined the Valiant Dawn. Mara paused to absorb the weight of the history around her. The ship's decaying walls seemed to pulse with the energy of those long-faded voices, each whisper contributing to the larger narrative of a civilization at war with its fate. She gently ran her fingers over the inscriptions carved into a metal panel, markings that chronicled battles, losses, and the enduring human quest for redemption. They spoke of honor, duty, and the profound cost of progress, each line a tribute to the souls who had once believed in a brighter future. Her inner dialogue grew reflective as she pondered the irony of her journey. The same corridors that had echoed with the triumphant roars of a fighting spirit now served as a somber mausoleum of history, where even the walls seemed to weep with memories. Every scratch, every faded insignia tells a story, Mara murmured softly to herself, one of hope, despair, and the unyielding resolve to stand against oblivion. With renewed determination, she began to piece together the fragments of history, a mosaic of personal sacrifice and the relentless march of time. The warship was not merely a relic of military might. It was a living chronicle, bearing the marks of both glorious triumphs and heart-wrenching losses. Each whisper of the past became a call to action, urging her to honor those voices by revealing their truth to a universe that had nearly forgotten them. As the holographic recordings faded into static, Mara carefully saved the recovered logs into her portable databank. The chamber fell silent once more, but the echoes of history remained etched in her mind, a persistent reminder that every relic, every scar, held within it the seeds of both destruction and hope. With a deep, steadying breath, she stepped away from the terminal, her resolve hardening like the metal of the ancient ship. In the soft luminescence of that forgotten archive, Mara understood that her quest was not only to unearth secrets but to weave the disparate threads of the past into a tapestry that might one day guide the future. A low, mechanical hum began to permeate the silence of the ship, vibrating through the metal walls and reverberating in the hidden corners of the Valiant Dawn. Mara's pulse quickened as an unsettling presence seemed to infiltrate the once quiet corridors. The gentle glow from her portable light flickered, as if struggling against an unseen force determined to shroud her discoveries. It was in a narrow passageway, between collapsed bulkheads and tangled conduits, that she first encountered the message, a stark holographic projection emerging from a concealed alcove. The image materialized in ghostly blue hues, displaying the stern, angular features of Commander Zepthor. His eyes, unyielding and resolute, bore into her with a mixture of authority and warning. Dr. Ellison, his voice resonated with a cool, measured cadence, carrying the weight of centuries of tradition and unspoken duty. You tread where the remnants of conflict are not meant to be disturbed. Cease your exploration immediately, or face consequences that will echo through the corridors of time. The message reverberated in the claustrophobic space, leaving Mara momentarily frozen, the air heavy with the gravity of his command. The hologram's sharp edges dissolved into static, but the echo of his words lingered like an afterimage on her mind, a dire caution that mingled with the distant memories of battles long past. Heart-pounding, Mara absorbed the warning. The juxtaposition of Zepthor's imposing visage against the fragile remnants of Earth's might was both awe-inspiring and ominous. His authority was undeniable, his intentions cloaked in the mystique of interstellar guardianship, yet she sensed a personal conviction beneath the veneer of duty, a belief that some truths were too dangerous to be unearthed. Determined to honor both her duty and her insatiable curiosity, Mara retreated a few paces into the labyrinth of the ship. In the quiet that followed the projection, the silence was now charged with an unspoken challenge. The corridors seemed to murmur with the tension of a battlefield, where every echo carried both a threat and an invitation to press further. As she navigated the maze-like interior, Mara's mind churned with questions. Who exactly was Commander Zepthor? What secrets did he fear, and what price did he place on the preservation of this relic's dormant power? His warning was not merely a command, it was a declaration of war against the unrestrained excavation of the past. Her resolve hardened with each step, and the familiar fire of determination surged within her. Mara knew that delving deeper into the valiant dawn could unlock secrets capable of reshaping history, for better or worse. And yet, Zepthor's stark admonition served as a reminder of the dangerous precipice on which her quest teetered. In a quiet alcove, away from prying censors and the ever-watchful eyes of the alien custodians, Mara paused to record the incident in her digital log. Her fingers trembled slightly as she dictated the chilling encounter, a single sentence echoing in the silence. I have been warned. Yet beneath those words lay a resolve that refused to yield. The relic's mysteries beckoned, and no warning could dim the unquenchable thirst for truth that drove her onward. As the hum of the ship resumed its steady cadence, mingling with the soft whispers of the past, Mara pressed forward. The warning had been delivered, its shadow looming large over her mission. But in the interplay of light and darkness, hope and peril, she sensed that the path ahead was one not solely defined by fear, but also by the promise of revelation, and the unyielding courage to face whatever secrets awaited in the silent depths. Deep within the labyrinthine heart of the valiant dawn, the ship's silence was shattered by a sudden surge of tension, a palpable shift that set the stage for an inevitable clash. Mara's exploration led her into a vast hangar bay, where the interplay of dim light and deep shadows gave birth to stark silhouettes of long-dormant machinery and forgotten armaments. Here, beneath the vaulted ceiling that still bore scars of ancient conflicts, the relic seemed to murmur secrets of power and peril. Her footsteps echoed as she made her way to a central control room, its vast array of dormant consoles and blinking panels offering glimpses of a once-thriving operational hub. Among the flickering indicators, Mara discovered a series of encrypted files, data that hinted at a hidden weapons system buried deep within the ship's framework. As she worked to decode the files, her gloved fingers danced over the tactile interface, the soft hum of the relic systems rising in intensity with each breakthrough. In the midst of this technological awakening, a sudden, harsh static invaded her auditory sensors. The commanding voice of Commander Zepthor cut through the interference with renewed urgency. Dr. Ellison, this is your final caution. Cease all operations immediately. His words were laced with a controlled fury, each syllable striking like a shockwave that reverberated off the cold metal walls. Mara paused, her mind racing as she processed the warning. In a low, resolute tone, she responded into her communicator, her words steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. I cannot stand by while secrets that could reshape our future remain locked away. I must know the truth. Her reply, defiant and resolute, hung in the charged air of the control room. The silence that followed was thick with tension, a silent duel of wills conducted through the sparse channels of digital communication. The control panels around her began to light up in a cascade of colors as the encrypted data decrypted further, revealing schematics of energy conduits and weapon arrays designed to harness a power that had long been dormant. Each revelation was a double-edged sword, a beacon of understanding paired with the grim reminder of the ship's destructive potential. A new message erupted from Zepthor, his voice now colder, almost dispassionate in its stern clarity. Your actions endanger not only yourself but the delicate balance of our cosmos. This relic was sealed for a reason. The words, heavy with foreboding, underscored the depth of the conflict, one rooted in fear, duty, and the haunting specter of past devastation. As the data streams danced across her vision, Mara felt a surge of determination. She knew that unearthing the weapon system meant not only exposing hidden truths but also confronting the very ideology that sought to bury them. The ship itself seemed to pulse in rhythm with her resolve, its creaks and groans echoing the distant beat of a long-forgotten war drum. Within the heart of that cold control room, a silent confrontation was unfolding. Mara's mind wrestled with the stark duality of discovery, the promise of enlightenment against the risk of unleashing catastrophic power. The dialogue between her and Zepthor was more than a clash of commands. It was a collision of philosophies. On one side was the drive to resurrect history in all its complex, painful detail. On the other, a desperate effort to keep dangerous legacies entombed. Mara's voice broke through the tension, softer now yet resolute. If we allow fear to dictate our future, we condemn ourselves to endless darkness. I need to understand, even if it comes at a great cost. Her words, carried on the static, reflected a deep-seated belief that knowledge, even of perilous power, was essential to forging a better path forward. In that pivotal moment, the hum of the relic's ancient systems intertwined with the clash of their convictions. The Warship, a silent witness to the annals of conflict, bore the scars of history on every surface. And as Mara continued to piece together the intricate puzzle of the weapon system, the echoes of confrontation resonated not just in the cold metal of the ship but within her very soul, a reminder that sometimes the pursuit of truth demands that one stand resolute in the face of overwhelming opposition. The standoff was far from over, and every new bite of data brought both clarity and peril. Yet amidst the tension and the rising storm of conflict, Mara's spirit burned bright, a beacon of defiance against the shadow of fear, determined to illuminate the truths that lay hidden in the depths of a once great warship. In a hidden section of the warship's inner sanctum, the labyrinth of corridors opened into a vast chamber, a forgotten data vault bathed in an eerie glow of flickering emergency lights. Here, Mara found herself standing before a colossal archive of encrypted records, each one a silent testament to the Valiant Dawn's turbulent past. The chamber, lined with ancient servers and dormant control panels, hummed with a latent energy that spoke of secrets waiting to be freed. With deliberate care, Mara approached the central console, a relic of a bygone era, its interface still responsive to her touch despite decades of neglect. As her fingers danced over the keys, the device came to life, unfurling streams of encrypted data that cascaded across the screen like a waterfall of forgotten memories. The code slowly morphed into vivid schematics, blueprints detailing energy conduits and weapon arrays meticulously designed to channel a power that had once fueled both salvation and devastation. A surge of adrenaline mingled with a quiet awe as Mara realized that the schematics were more than technical drawings, they were the DNA of an ancient conflict, a narrative encoded in circuits and metal. Every line of the blueprint, every symbol etched into the digital fabric, told a story of sacrifice, ambition, and the relentless march of time. The complexity of the design hinted at a purpose beyond mere weaponry, suggesting that the warship had been conceived as both a guardian of history and a harbinger of change. The quiet of the vault was shattered by the sudden intrusion of Commander Zepthor's voice, this time more measured yet laden with an unmistakable chill. "Dr. Ellison, you continue to push boundaries that should remain untouched," he intoned, his tone echoing through the chamber. His presence, felt as much as heard, sent ripples of tension through the ambient hum of the machinery. Mara's response was a soft murmur against the backdrop of electronic whispers. Some boundaries must be crossed if we are to learn from our past. These secrets, no matter how dangerous, are the key to understanding what led us to this precipice. Her words resonated with a quiet defiance, each syllable a challenge to the forces that sought to keep history confined within its dusty tomb. The data on the screen pulsed in tandem with her racing heartbeat, each revelation casting new light on the relic's multifaceted purpose. Among the labyrinthine lines of code, she discovered an encrypted message, an embedded narrative that interwove personal accounts of valor and despair from those who had once manned the ship. The narrative was fragmented, yet its emotional cadence was unmistakable, the voices of soldiers and leaders, their hopes and fears preserved in digital echoes. The message revealed that the weapon system was not simply a tool of war but a final safeguard, designed to activate only when the balance of power was teetering on the edge of oblivion. As Mara decoded the last sequence, The chamber seemed to exhale a long-held breath. The revelation was profound, a glimpse into the delicate interplay between creation and destruction, a warning encoded in the very architecture of the warship. It was a testament to the idea that even in the darkest moments, there was an intrinsic desire to protect, to preserve what was most essential. In the stillness of that moment, Mara's thoughts swirled like the flickering lights above. Every discovery now felt like a step deeper into a well of infinite possibility, a place where the past and future converged, urging her to confront not only the tangible relics of war but the intangible scars of human ambition. The secrets of the valiant dawn were unraveling before her eyes, each thread weaving a narrative of hope, loss, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. The chamber, alive with the resonance of untold stories, bore witness to Mara's quiet vow to embrace these dangerous truths, to bring them into the light, and to let history guide a future where the cycles of conflict might finally be broken. In that charged silence, the secrets of the past became both a burden and a beacon, a dual legacy that demanded understanding and promised redemption. In the heart of the valiant dawn, the atmosphere crackled with the raw intensity of imminent conflict. The vast, cavernous chamber of the ship's central command had transformed into an arena of tension, where every shadow and shard of light bore witness to the brewing storm. Mara stood amidst a scattered array of blinking consoles and tangled wires, her every sense heightened by the gravity of the moment. Across the chamber, Commander Zevthor's presence loomed large, not as a physical figure, but through the omnipresent network of communication and surveillance he commanded. The air itself seemed to vibrate with his unseen authority, as if the very structure of the relic was poised to echo his demands. His voice, cold and unyielding, filled the space with a stark ultimatum. Dr. Ellison, your pursuit has endangered what must remain dormant. Withdraw now, or face the full weight of our resolve. Mara's heart pounded as she absorbed the message, her mind racing through the implications of defiance and duty. Standing at the threshold between revelation and annihilation, she felt the burden of every soul that had once fought and fallen aboard the warship. The legacy of their sacrifices intertwined with her own determination, fueling a resolve that refused to be extinguished by fear. With a steady, measured tone, she responded, her voice echoing off the cold metal walls. Commander, if truth is to be our guide, then I must see this through. The past is not something to be hidden. It is a lesson, a warning for our future. Her words resonated with a defiant clarity, a declaration that defied the oppressive silence of the relic and the omnipresent threat of its keeper. The tension escalated as the ship's systems began to stir in response to the unfolding confrontation. Sparks flew from dormant panels, and the low hum of ancient machinery surged into an almost living rhythm. The relic itself appeared to pulse with energy, as if awakened by the clash of ideologies, a battleground where the forces of preservation and progress met with a sudden, violent intensity. In a dramatic shift, automated defense protocols activated along the corridors, their presence a silent testament to the weapon system hidden within the ship's depths. Mara's eyes widened as she witnessed panels slide open to reveal concealed armaments, their lethal potential poised to ignite at the slightest provocation. The sudden realization of the imminent danger mingled with a fierce determination to unearth the truth, no matter the cost. A standoff had been declared, an unspoken duel of wills between the relentless thirst for knowledge and the calculated desire to contain history's darker forces. The control room, bathed in erratic bursts of light and the glow of malfunctioning consoles, became the stage for this high-stakes conflict. Every beep, every hum of the alien systems was a heartbeat of tension, marking the seconds before the inevitable clash. In the midst of the rising chaos, Mara's resolve crystallized. With nimble fingers, she initiated a sequence on her portable console, a desperate bid to override the ship's defensive systems. Her actions were precise, each command executed with the urgency of one who knew that every moment was critical. The screen before her filled with cascading lines of code, a digital battleground where her intellect and intuition fought against the legacy of ancient war. Then, through the controlled static, Zevthor's voice returned, now laced with a hint of uncertainty. You have no idea what you're tampering with, Doctor. This relic was designed to protect, to preserve a balance that should not be disturbed. His tone, while still authoritative, wavered as if the very nature of his conviction was being tested by the fierce spark of rebellion in Mara's eyes. Mara paused, her focus unwavering despite the rising clamor. I understand the weight of what lies within these walls, she replied softly, yet with a power that resonated like a clarion call. But hiding the truth only ensures that history will repeat its darkest chapters. I must expose what was meant to be remembered, not forgotten. The chamber seemed to hold its breath as the standoff reached a fevered pitch. Outside the flickering glow of the control panels, the Valiant Dawn groaned, a deep, resonant sound that spoke of old battles and new threats. In that suspended moment, the relic was both a monument to past glory and a harbinger of potential destruction. As the tension stretched into a delicate balance between defiance and submission, Mara's every action felt like a dance with destiny. The silent warship, an ancient sentinel of lost wars, now bore witness to a new chapter, a chapter defined by the courage to seek truth even when it meant standing alone against an empire of shadows. As the turmoil within the Valiant Dawn reached its zenith, a quiet clarity began to settle over the chaos. The standoff in the control room had given way to a measured stillness, a moment suspended between the echoes of old battles and the promise of a new future. Mara stood amidst a tangle of flickering consoles and subdued defense systems, her gaze fixed on the heart of the relic that had both threatened and beckoned her. In the wake of the confrontation, the ship's systems gradually powered down, surrendering to the command of a mind driven by a resolute belief in truth over fear. The overridden defense protocols now lay dormant, their silent menace replaced by the gentle hum of deactivated circuitry. Mara's fingers hovered over her portable console, the last remnants of Zevthor's warnings echoing faintly through the corridors. Yet in that soft glow of redemption, she saw not an enemy but a fellow guardian of history, a custodian whose methods were as rigid as they were protective. The decrypted schematics, the once hidden records of sacrifice and valor, now illuminated the narrative of the Valiant Dawn in their full, unyielding brilliance. As Mara carefully archived the final batch of data, she felt the weight of generations lift from her shoulders. Every byte of information, every fragment of memory gathered within these walls, was a testament to both the terror and the hope of the past. It was a legacy not meant to be buried in fear, but celebrated as a guidepost for a wiser tomorrow. In a final act of symbolic closure, Mara activated the ship's primary archive projector. Holographic images filled the vast chamber, faces of brave soldiers, fleeting moments of triumph amid despair, and whispered recollections of a history that had once defined civilizations. The projection swirled in an ephemeral dance of light, each image a silent tribute to those who had fought for survival and for peace. Her voice, gentle yet firm, resonated in the quiet aftermath. Let these memories be our beacon, a reminder that even in our darkest hours, the spark of hope endures. We honor the past not to dwell in its sorrow, but to learn and build a future unburdened by the mistakes of yesterday. In that declaration, Mara found both solace and resolve, a commitment to preserve history with integrity while charting a new course for the cosmos. The tension between opposing forces, once so palpable in the echoing corridors of the relic, gradually transformed into a shared understanding, a silent truce that acknowledged the complexity of legacy. Commander Zevthor's final transmission had faded into the ether, leaving behind a residue of conflicted duty and unspoken regret. In its place, the Valiant Dawn stood as a monument not to war, but to the enduring power of truth and reconciliation. As the first gentle rays of distant starlight filtered through the shattered viewport, the warship seemed to exhale a long-held breath, a quiet, solemn acknowledgement of its storied past and its potential to herald a brighter future. Mara, with the weight of history now balanced by the hope of renewal, stepped away from the control room. With every measured stride, she carried the legacy of the fallen and the promise of a future where history's lessons would light the path toward lasting peace. In that final, reflective moment, the Valiant Dawn was reborn not as a relic of destruction, but as a living archive, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the timeless quest for understanding. The silence that enveloped the ship now sang a different song, one of remembrance, healing, and the indomitable hope for a future unbound by the shadows of war.